Hello to all my siblings out there. I'm Gene, and welcome to the first episode of Vibe Time. Today, we're going to be talking about the pain of friendships. We all know that it's sometimes difficult when friendships come to an end, no matter the duration or memories that come along with it. A lot of people don't know how to go along with the aftermath of it sometimes, along with the physical pains you sometimes get from thinking about something funny they said one time, how some random clothes and shops remind you of them, or even the overwhelming feeling of nostalgia when you miss them too much. I too have been through that. It's a lot more challenging than people online or on TV make it out to be. It's very watered down. There's a lot of feelings and emotions and conflictions that you get along with it. I thought we'd talk about it today, just so that you guys get a better understanding and acknowledge these feelings better in the future if you come across it again. First and foremost, it is okay to grieve the breakup. I've never seen anyone talk about this, and let me tell you, it is okay to grieve. There are a lot of emotions there. There's a lot of feelings that you're feeling. There's a huge loss of intimacy and connection, and that is real. That's more real than anyone will ever tell you it is. There's so many memories you've created, so many times that you've had fun together, so much pieces of joy that you feel like are being ripped away. But the memories you created will always be there, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. In my personal experience, I've learned that it's okay to mourn the memories you've made and not the person you've made them with. You could dislike the person that you've made the memories with, sure. But the memories, well, those are the things you mourn the most, because they are the things that really made it special. Don't ever dismiss your feelings or how you decide to grieve as nothing, because it's not nothing, it's something. It's how you decide to take care of it. I'm going to put this word on the screen now, but rumination is basically a fancy word for basically going over old thoughts to the point they mess with how you feel currently and your current mood. In future, so you avoid doing this, as much as it's going to hurt, and I know it's going to hurt, don't browse through your old texts and look at your old pictures of them if they cause you more pain. It's already painful that you're going through this, but you don't need to add more onto yourself by doing that. I had a habit of doing it, I've done it with 3 people I used to be friends with. But it's always helpful to remember that you two are in a different part of life now. One higher than the other, one farther than the other. You're both in 2 completely different parts of life now, and it's good to remember that they are only memories. And it's in the past, but you eventually got to move on. If you believe that removing those memories will help you move forward, do it if that helps. But remember that removing that memory is not what we're after. We're here to process emotions. Pretending that the friendship never happened is a way of dismissing how you feel and dismissing everything that's happened. Let's talk about prioritizing your mental health throughout all of this. Moving on from someone who caused you mental and emotional pain is definitely okay. I want you to go back through the video and hear me play it again. I'll be waiting. You're back? Okay, cool. Anyway, I've spent my time doing the research on this, and studies have shown that social relationships can either sabotage or support behavior change. And I'm not talking about just teens or peer pressure. I've seen studies where middle-aged people have worse falling outs than teenagers do. It's serious. Go look it up if you don't believe me. Go look up some of the studies. Toxic people in relationships and friendships will constantly throw you through the loop just so they get satisfaction from it. And then they victimize themselves when they don't like you rebelling against that. That is common narcissistic behavior, and while that doesn't involve the aftermath of a friendship, it's a definite red flag that can lead to it. So Remember that for next time. Remember that for next time. Alright, remember that. You don't need that. You have been through a lot already, and you don't need people doing that to you. Not at all. You don't need that. How to deal when they're around other people. Just because you're not friends with them anymore doesn't mean other people aren't going to stop being friends with them. It's a shitty thing that happens, and you know, we have to move on with it. We have to not let that affect what has happened with us and that person. We don't let that affect how we have experienced our time with them. If they're friends with other people, a good thing to remind yourself is that it was your decision to not be friends with them, and it's a good decision. But you don't have impact or control over how other people go along their relationships. You could talk to them about it, but if you're mutual friends with them, if they're mutual friends with you and the other person, that's most of the time doesn't really do a lot. Moving on from someone who was there when you needed them can be rough. It can be really draining to try and do all these things that you used to do without wanting them back into your life so you could do it again. I cut out a best friend of 11 years a few months back. I still do things that I used to do with them, and I miss it. I miss them a lot. Things happened the way they did, and if you're watching this, I don't have resentment towards you anymore. I'm not angry at you. I hope you're living a better part of life, and maybe when we're older we might see each other again someday, but for now we're both on 2 different journeys of life, and I think it should be that way for a while. And that is a part of life. Them moving on from you and you moving on from them is just another part of life. People come and go. You know, it's like what people always say. People come and go throughout your life and families stay. Sometimes you think they're family, but they're just friends. It sounds really shitty now that I think about it, but it's the truth, and people don't really say it. People come and go. You may be best friends with them now, but will you be best friends with them in 10 years? You don't know. You don't know. People usually come into your life, and you know, there are 2 things that happen in that time. You teach them a lesson, and that's not up to you whether they take that lesson, and that's up to them. That is their decision what they do with that choice. Or they come in and teach you a lesson, and just like your feelings and emotions, that is something you can control, and that's something you can go off by. How they win the friendship can determine what you look for in future friends, and if anything, it can help you spot the red flags in new friends. This is the part where I tell you that you're not alone. You may think that you're going through all of this by yourself, but you're not. You're not. And that's not to demean what you're going through. There are other people like you going through this as well. There are other people feeling lost and stuck like you and don't know what to do. I was there. A lot. Which is why I'm doing this now. So that you don't have to go through this alone. It sucks what happened. There's no denying it, it sucked what happened, but at the end of the day, you will come out of this a stronger and better person. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Leave comments down below of what topics you would like to see me discuss in the future or give advice on. I'm gonna be transparent. I really hope this does well. I feel like a lot of you might benefit from hearing this. I hope the tips and advice I've given you, you take on for yourself or give to other people. Been me. I will see you later. I've got to go do some stuff. if you don't mind, would you mind clicking the subscribe button so you can come back next week? Yeah, I'll see you next week.
Somebody in another skin. I heard that you're